This is After Hours with Amy Lawrence.
Excited about our next guest here on the show. Fresh off 4 tackles in the Super Bowl as a backup linebacker for this Broncos defense and a massive victory parade through the streets of downtown Denver. We're really excited about getting an insider's perspective. And while you're listening, what will you take away from the 2015 season? Want to hear from you on Twitter at ALaw Radio and then also on our Facebook page, After Hours with Amy Lawrence. Corey Nelson, a guest on our show once before during the season, before the Broncos had lost. But now it's a whole different ballgame, Corey. When I say to you the Broncos are Super Bowl champs, what does that mean?
Man, it means so much, you know. It still hasn't resonated to me that we're champions, but to be a Super Bowl champion, you know, it's only 50 teams. 50 teams have played in the Super Bowl, and it just speaks volumes for being a Super Bowl champion. I'm overwhelmed with joy, to be honest with you.
There's so many things I want to know about this particular game, but the defense was so good as it has been all throughout the playoffs, really containing big-time quarterbacks. We're talking about MVP quarterbacks, and the last being Cam Newton. Why was the game plan so effective, Corey? What was it that worked so well?
Man, you know, I would have to say it was Coach Wade Phillips and his whole staff. I mean, whatever they do in the office is phenomenal. They do a great job of drawing up game plans of, you know, stopping great quarterbacks. I know in the postseason when we played the Patriots and when we played the Steelers, we had a specific game plan for each quarterback. And he does a good job with doing that. And he sets players up in perfect position, you know, on certain calls so that they can make plays. Yeah, he does a great job, a very great job of just setting players up to make the plays that we did or that we do.
So against Cam Newton, what was the number one priority? Because he's a different kind of a quarterback.
Oh, yeah, he's a very different type of quarterback and very versatile. You know, those type of quarterbacks can be very dangerous. Our main component was, you know, just trying to stop Cam Newton from running the ball and you know, being versatile with his legs. We said if we can contain him in the pocket and make him a pocket passer that we'll be able to win, and that's what we did to the best of our abilities. He's definitely a great quarterback, but we drew up a game plan to keep him contained in the pocket, and there you have it.
Worked like a charm, not just that, but there wasn't much of a pocket to worry about because he was under siege all game long. In those final minutes of the fourth quarter, when Von Miller comes up with another fumble and the ball is bouncing around and first DeMarcus Ware gets a hand on it and then TJ Ward comes up with it. What's happening as you guys finally secure that fumble deep in what would be your red zone? What's happening on your sidelines and on the field?
Oh, man, we're just yelling on the sideline. Yeah, that's what we're talking about. Like, I mean, we just knew, you know, right then and there at that moment, that we had the game sealed, and all we had to do was just go out there and make a couple of more stops, and it would have been in our hands. But we were ecstatic on the sideline. At that moment, everyone knew that we had it in our hands, and everyone knew that we didn't want to give up what just happened. We didn't want to give up that lead or give up that fumble. We wanted to capitalize on everything.
How stressful has it been through these playoffs, though? Because the struggles of the offense have been there all year. Sometimes they do well, but sometimes they have been inconsistent. The defense, though, has been so rock solid from start to finish. And then in the postseason, having to come back against the Steelers, that fourth quarter against the Patriots, which big stop after big stop after big stop. And then, of course, the Super Bowl where you guys had the lead, but still it was hanging in the balance there until the end.
Yeah, and you know, Amy, throughout the whole season, it's been a playoff atmospheric game. I mean, when we played our first game against Kansas City, how we forced that fumble, defense forced that fumble with a couple of seconds left in the fourth quarter. How when we went to Cleveland, we went into overtime and we pulled out with a win there, and how we played the Patriots the first time and won in overtime. So we've been in countless games like that. So playing in the playoffs, when we were in tight games like that, it was nothing new to us because we knew, that was how we wanted our games. That we knew that we would win with those type of games because that's the type of atmosphere that we were used to and that we were acceptable to. And so, yeah, it just allowed us to just play well because we knew that no matter what, the odds were in our favor because that was the type of games that we were used to.
So even though Patriots were favored on your field and it was nearly a touchdown spread, Panthers favored over you guys, you were really confident is what you're telling me.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we definitely was. We knew, we told ourselves if we can go in there and play as hard as we can, how we have been doing, that there was no doubt in our minds that we would win. And that's what we did. I mean, even throughout the whole season, we played as hard as we could from start to finish. And we kept that mindset. And even when the odds were stacked against us in all those games, that mindset allowed us to persevere and push through, even though we knew that, the odds were stacked against us.
Corey Nelson, member of that linebacking core for the world champion Denver Broncos. It's After Hours with Amy Lawrence here on CBS Sports Radio. What did you see? What did you learn from Von Miller, DeMarcus Ware, some of the other veterans in the locker room with the Broncos, since you are a second-year player?
Man, I saw greatness happen, right before my eyes. With Peyton Manning getting his second Super Bowl ring after all these years, and DeMarcus Ware getting his first Super Bowl ring, after 10 years. I just watched history in the making, and just watching Von Miller go out there and dominate and become MVP. And I just learned so much from those guys, by their demeanor, the way they carry themselves off the field, how they study the playbook, how they study the game, how they treat people, how they approach people. I just caught on to those things, and I just learned, and I was like, hey, if I want to be just as successful as those guys, I have to be able to be like that. I have to be able to portray that image and give off a image of that nature. And those guys are also great leaders. They taught me how to be such a great leader. Peyton Manning was a captain. D. Ware was a captain. At times, Vaughn was even a captain. And just looking up to those guys and looking at them in a leadership role, it showed me that, hey, this is how you be a leader. This is, if you want to be great, these are the steps that you have to take, or this is the type of mindset that you have to have. But I learned so much from those guys, and the list can go on and on from Emmanuel Sanders to Demaryius Thomas. All those guys are great players, and I learned so much throughout this whole season from them. They definitely made me a better player and a better person.
We've heard so much about the meeting on Saturday night before the game, and not that I expect you to tell me what was said by Peyton Manning and DeMarcus Ware, but, Coach Kubiak referenced it, and different players, Von Miller's mentioned it. What did that mean to have those two guys to open up, get a little emotional, and speak to your team the night before the biggest game of your lives?
It meant everything, Those were if there was a perfect time to have someone talk before a game, it would be those two guys. The setting was right. The setting was perfect. And for them to talk to us, it allowed us to embrace our dreams. It allowed us to embrace that moment. I remember Marcus Ware was talking about we had the Angels in the backfield watching over us, and the Angels were the defense, or the Angels were the offense. And they just pulled up pictures of all the plays that we made from big to small that contributed to where we have gotten to. And being able to listen to them talk and to experience that moment, it was definitely breathtaking, and it was a pivotal point in my life that I'll forever cherish.
So Victory Parade. There's so many of these moments, Corey, that you can cherish forever. It's amazing. Victory Parade, estimates somewhere around 1 million people in downtown Denver. What will you remember from Tuesday and that atmosphere?
Oh, my gosh. I remember, I will never forget this. We were standing in the Capitol, and all you could see was just orange and blue from as far as you can see. It was just crowds of people, and it was so loud. I'll never forget that. And I'll never forget riding on that fire truck and just seeing all those people just lined all the way down across and through downtown. It was phenomenal. I was like, wow, I've never experienced something like this in my life ever. All the love and support was just so great.
It is it's obviously a well-documented story that John Elway, rode off into the sunset after his second Super Bowl ring and now has built this team of which you are a part. It's so funny not funny to me. Funny is the wrong word. It seems like there's no way that Elway could ever not be the biggest sports star in Denver. Have you caught a glimpse of that love for John Elway yet?
Oh, yeah. I mean, even like throughout the games or, throughout certain events that goes on around Denver, they'll talk about John Elway and the 2 Super Bowl rings that he's brought to Denver. I experienced the love for him firsthand, and the one that really stuck out was when he spoke at the City Hall and had thanked all the fans, and the whole downtown just uproared, and I was like, wow, they really love this guy. Like he's really a legend here in Denver.
All right, so before I let you go, people who don't know, you're a brand new dad, and you and I had talked about this during the season, how your wife was getting ready to have a baby, and you guys were preparing for your first baby. So how is it being a daddy to a baby?
Oh man, it's busy, but it's at the same time, it's so good. It's so great because you get to experience, a little you. You get to experience, a different type of love. It's been great. I mean, just to see how they grow and to see how they interact with you and to kind of just see their emotions develop and the type of person that they're going to be. It's an amazing feeling. I love being a dad. I really do. It's one of the best things that ever happened to me, aside from the Super Bowl.
What does it mean to you that your baby daughter could be there? I know she doesn't have any idea, but to you, what does it mean that she could be there and that she could be part of that celebration?
Oh man, I felt like she was the golden baby. I felt like she was the reason why we won. To be honest, but it felt great though, man, to have her there. In that moment, even though she doesn't remember anything, but to have her there and to have my little family there, it meant everything to me. It felt really, really good.
Well, someday she'll be able to look at those pictures, and obviously it will mean a lot to her too. But people people should find you on Twitter at @C_NE7. SON. Congratulations. Even as it sinks in, Corey, congratulations.
Oh, thank you so much, Miss Amy. I appreciate it. Thank you.